How you see yourself is how you perceived. I see a man strong, gifted, head strapping, never down on his knees, begging. Gotta make a way, even in my darkest hour. Say the odds against me was new. I would never cower.
Okay. So as a small business owner, or if you're thinking about it, I always suggest everyone to do this. Read this book first. It's a book by I think his name is Michael Gerber. I'm hoping I'm not butchering that name. His name is Michael Gerber. It's called The E-Myth. Okay. He talks about the 4 types of people that are in business. And what I said earlier was the technician, right? You didn't go into business to be the technician. You came into business to actually grow, right? So I understand the whole idea of I want to do it. If I want to get it done right, I do it myself. Sure. But if you also want to grow as a business, you're going to have to teach. You're going to have to give away some of that, those responsibilities. You're going to have to empower other people within your business to grow. Because if you're not, you're just going to stay stagnant. Only because you're going to push yourself to the limit and there's only so much of you to go around. But if you train people to do it the way that you want it done, because this is the right way of doing things, eventually your business is going to get much bigger. Because now think about it, there's more than just one of me. There's 2 of me, 3 of me, 4 of me, 5 of me that have their right skill set. And, I'm going to segue simply to that background picture that you have, which is actually, I think, is a good segue, because these people behind you right now.
Let me move to the side so you can see all of them.
No problem.
All right.
These 5 females are actually they're half of my management supervisory group. Okay. And basically, I have grown my business by teaching the first person how to do things. After that, I brought him along. He knows exactly how everything is supposed to be run. He's able to teach the next person. That person is able to teach the next person. So behind you, literally right behind you, is my second in command. Okay. Her and her husband were the 2 people that basically I first worked with, and I took tons of time to teach them. I can literally walk away from my business right now, and I know that these 2 will take care of it without an issue. And each one of the people behind them trust the next person behind them, because they know that from top to bottom, we all got taught the same way. We know how to run this business. So if I wanted to just exit the game now, I could just exit the game and be comfortable, right? But that's not the point. I am also a client or customer of my own business, because I'm using these people or their services, not the people themselves, the services that they provide, the talents that they provide, in order to grow my business more. I'm always focused on my business, growing my business, because these people are being able to handle all the stuff that we had before, the stuff that we know, the stuff that we figured out, and they're teaching the next person up. So, hey, you know what? DJ just made 100 new sales. These people are like, great. We just need to we need to train a new manager, a new person that's going to be supervising over this, on top of maybe 90 other virtual assistants that are going to be taking care of those things. And I know they're going to handle it, because this is how we do things, right? Don't limit yourself. And the reason why I tell you to read that book is because people, for some reason, are too afraid to let go. But letting go is how you're going to become successful. That's the only way you can. You cannot be successful by doing it by yourself. Then don't get me wrong. Maybe I shouldn't say never, because I don't really like the extremes on one of the end, because there's always those stories of the overnight success type of people, like they make billions and millions of dollars overnight. But remember, that's like hitting the lotto, right?
That's not everyone's story.
Exactly. Don't count on winning the lotto. Make it happen, right? You want to make it happen by doing the things that you should be doing. Yes, I understand the artist totally makes sense, but do you also need to do your books? Do you also need to run the accounting at the same time? Do you need to call every single vendor to sell your product? No. If you really need to focus on the art, let other people take over the other stuff, right? Because that's their expertise. That's what they can do to support you. Man, as much support as you can give, and go back and forth and really compliment yourself with surrounding you with people with different personalities, it's always going to be great.
And need I remind people watching this, we're humans, so things happen, like you get sick. You unexpected injury, could be at home, you could fall down a flight of stairs, and now you can't show up to the office and things of that nature. So
even the positive stuff, your kid's graduation, or you're going to go to the sales call. Right. What would you rather go to? I'd rather go to my kid's graduation.
Yeah, these are things that we don't consider all the time, but it happens, And furthermore, as an incentive to trust others with your business would be, I don't want to be morbid, but we have a time where we're gonna not be here anymore. And if you have a
Right.
family, you want to make sure your business is still running, the engine, the engine's running, it's moving, all parts are moving accordingly, so that in the unfortunate situation where you're no longer here, your business is still running, your kids and your family are taken care of. Because if you're
Right.
doing it all yourself and you burn out, you have a mental breakdown or whatever happens to you, then your business is gone with you,
That's right.
because you were
100%.
you were literally holding up your business.
Right. And I have some family members that are like that. If God forbid that the breadwinner goes away, he never taught anything to anyone, everything's just going to collapse underneath. You only get, and the thing is for that, you're going to end up selling the business and something you worked so hard for. It's going to go to someone else's hands, and you just get like you get a huge payout, but what about the future growth and taking care of the generations past you type of thing? Like you want to set them up to be more comfortable, right? And I think people try to hold so much in and keep so many secrets, and nothing could run without me because they want to sort of hold their place so no one can take them over. I think that's a wrong mindset. I think you should have your own value, and you have your own worth. That sure, you give them a little tidbit here, a little bit of power here or there. It's not going to affect your business because you're still synonymous with the business. It's not going to be taken over by anybody from the people that you're teaching. They're just going to be able to support you better. And I think that's just a really backwards way of thinking of things, right? I'm going to hide all my secrets and no one can ever learn, right? And, that doesn't help anybody. Imagine the expansion. Imagine the potential,
But aren't there legal ways of going around that also to make sure no one's giving up like your secret recipe?
Oh, 100%.
If you're in a restaurant,
Yeah.
like if you have a
Yeah,
restaurant and it's grandma's secret recipe for the wings, and it's like, I want to train other people, but because we especially in culinary arts, I've heard it from watching cooking shows. There's people who don't want to give up that recipe. It's and they don't want to entrust somebody outside of the family with the recipe. I'm sure legally there's something they can do. I'm sure your company could assist with that legally, where whoever they train, I guess is binded by contract that they're not allowed to go and tell someone else and then try to open up a restaurant with that same sauce.
100%. Yeah. And then there's ways for you to take legal action against them and everything like that. That's what those agreements, non-disclosure acts are all about. And, it's funny that you say that the secret recipe, I think it's Coca-Cola, right? That there's only 2 people in the world that know exactly what the recipe is or something like that. I think it's Coca-Cola. I might be wrong, but
Okay.
It's something like that, right? And I always find that crazy to me because there's like, God forbid something happens to those 2. What are you going to do with the Coca-Cola recipe after that? I really don't know, but I'm saying it's an interesting way to do things, but it does feel a little bit too old school because, man, just like you said, God forbid something happens. Like, what are you going to do next? I'm sure they have some sort of fail-safe.
Well, even still, even if they didn't, even if a company comes out with a similar soda, if it was tested and it was the same exact ingredients of Coca-Cola, I'm sure Coca-Cola could still take legal action. It's funny.
100%.
It's funny you brought that up because it was just brought to my attention that they're doing that with designer colognes, and fragrances. They're making. There's a term for it, and anyone watching this episode, let me know the term in the comments. There's a term for the knockoff fragrances. So whatever designer fragrance you could think of, for example, Creed Aventus. There's a machine out there that could test the Creed Aventus and figure out all the different ingredients, if you will, that are composed in the Creed Aventus, and they make a duplicate, and then they sell it. Excuse me, they sell it for way less.
Sure.
So, going back to the Coca-Cola, there's things that in 2025, there's a device for everything.
Yeah, I'm sure. You're absolutely right.
To break the code. So if you think you're going to be able to hide grandma's recipe, you probably won't be able to hide it. But go the legal route, go through a Sisley Pro and get everything squared away so that doesn't happen. So I just wanted to say also, for those people out there, now that we were bringing up food, or at least I brought up food. The people out there that, because I know that's another thing, I speak in this episode about people that I actually encountered, and the reason why I'm bringing up these accounts as I think of them is because I want them to know that, go ahead and dream big. You know, dream big. Don't think that you can't do it. I know a lot of great cooks out there. I experienced one in the Bronx. He had a restaurant called Mama Val's, and unfortunately, similar to what we discussed, Mama Val's was based around his mama. His mama used to work with him in the restaurant. It was just him and his mama, and working long hours. Everything you mentioned. When I tell you great Southern food, I never tasted better Southern food. And I used to go to Harlem to Sylvia's. Sylvia still has great Southern food, but Mama Val's was a small mom and pop establishment in the South Bronx, and it was Mama Val and her son. And unfortunately, I had moved from South Bronx, and I found out that Mama Val passed away, and it took me a while to connect with the son. I had to find him on Facebook, and he was no longer. He closed down the restaurant.
Yeah.
Obviously, part of it is because he's used to working with his mother. But I told him, I'm like, man, sorry to hear that. I said, but you got to do something. You got to open up a food truck or something. I said that food was amazing, and I I hadn't speak to him since. But the reason why I'm bringing up that story is because there's a lot of people talented out there, and you don't take that step. Food truck, you may not know how to start the business. You know you could cook, but you don't know how to start. You don't know how to buy a food truck. You don't know the legal parts of a food truck, like getting the licenses. Same thing for businesses. You don't know how to start the small restaurant because you're like, I know I'm gonna need staff. I don't know how to go about paying the staff. So what do you say, DJ, to those people who may want to open a food truck, or I believe that's a vendor to some sort, right? A food vendor, right? Or they want to start a small restaurant. Where can Assistly Pro come in with a food truck or a small restaurant?
Sure. So the first step, right? The first step is just being able to, like you said, just put yourself out there, right? I think that people are hold themselves back, right? Like you said, dream big. I think people hold themselves back a little bit too much, especially if they want to share some talents. Now, food is a very interesting industry. One of the things with food is that people can sell out of their own homes nowadays. It's all about being able to manage the socials and how you reach to people first to start small, right? I think that's the first step, right? Sure, if you want to, your dream is to open up a large restaurant. I don't have the revenue, I don't have the capital for that, but we can start small. There's so many stories, and actually, this brings me back to COVID. Funny enough, there's so many stories in COVID where people were selling food out of their homes. There's so many stories in New York of people selling pizzas out of their kitchen. Then I think there's a place in the Bronx that sells a Spanish breakfast out of their
I
basement
think I've heard that.
window.
I didn't
Yeah,
even know.
there's
I
so
honestly didn't
many.
even know it was legal. I didn't even know it
Yeah,
was
I
legal.
mean, whether it is or isn't, you can figure it out
Oh,
as
okay,
to
okay.
whether you can be legal. You know what I mean? There should be a way for you to actually be able to do it. There's lots of licenses, varieties that you can go for, vendor's license that you can make it work, right?
Hmm.
And it started first with, social media is one of those things that connect people so quickly. Social media is where it's at, where you can just like, hey, you know what? Put myself out there as to what I got, what I want to sell. Let me do a couple runs. I'm selling it at this price. Sure. Make some deliveries, fill some orders, start building your own capital. Like that's where you want to start first. Like in the food industry, if you're like you really want to start small. And people really control themselves as like, I can only do this much right now. I don't want to pay for much. I want to be able to maybe fill one order every other weekend or every weekend. Sure, that's still putting yourself out there. Hey, your name is going to get out there. Your social medias are going to get bigger because people are going to respond to you. Hey, please, leave a review, whether it's good or bad. I want to know so I can make it better, right? So, being able to interact with your customers a little bit more, that's where again Assisty Pro can help you out. Where, hey, you know what? Could you get your social media team to reach out to people? Maybe they want to try some samples. Maybe I can get some sort of giveaway going on, or I just want to be able to cook the food. Can you help us manage the orders, and be able to send you the tickets of what they want or what they want to order for their catering order or whatever it is have you. They can start somewhere, right? And again, like I said, it's about being able to assist you as you grow your small business. When you get larger and you open up your own restaurant and you have a bunch of staff in there, congratulations. The fact that we're able to get you there, what we ask for is just let them know who helped you get there along the way, right? Who assisted you, who supported you, right? Because that could be the next person that we help out to grow their dream.
Hmm.
So of course it's not going to be one size fits all. Maybe Assistant Pro will try to you know fit ourselves in where we can. But when we know that you're at the point where it's like, hey, you know what? This is our next suggestion. Godspeed, good luck. You got it all down. You get everything you need. You really don't might need us as much as you were before. But this is where the scalability is. You turn it up or down. We need more help from you. We don't need as much help from you. Sure. We're there to support. And that's really what my business is about. Like I said, we're selling you back your time. We're giving you time to be able to focus on those things so that you can make those big decisions and get to that big decision. Hey, at one point, maybe you can be a corporate franchise that has 10, 12 chains across New York. Maybe you need Assistant Pro to handle the books and stuff like that, but you're going to have your people in house. You can't replace that human connection of what they're actually doing in day in, day out, but we can help you with all the other stuff, right? So, there's a place and a time for everything, one of it. And, as for the principle of just getting out there and doing it, go do it. Like, you're not the only person that's trying, that's gonna do that. Maybe you're gonna be better than them, maybe you're not. But if you don't try, you're never gonna know, right? Wayne Gretzky, take 1,000 shots. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like you miss all the shots you don't take, right? Or some variation. I know I'm butchering the thing, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? Take a shot.
Got to
Right?
be
So
in it to win
you
it.
gotta do it. Yeah, it's the way to win. You gotta take it. Right?
So, is there anything else that you'd like to share about Assistly Pro? Any information, contact information? I see
Sure.
behind you there's some information.
Oh yeah, yeah. So our socials, if you want to go ahead and take a look at our socials, it's Assistly Pro on Instagram. For TikTok, it's Get Assistly. You can find us as well if you do info@assistlypro.com. You send an email. My team are going to take a look at it. We'll start working with you what we can figure out for you or point you in the right directions of where you can go, maybe give you some suggestions. Sometimes our suggestions are just free because sometimes it's like, hey, you know what? Let's not go into this right now because we don't want to take money, go this route, explore this because this is probably more beneficial for you. Come back to us when you feel like you have you've got a budget that makes sense, because that's the other thing. We're not in it to put you under either, right? We're not going to charge you money or go a crazy amount for stuff that you don't need, because I think a lot of the times people try to do like premium services right out the back. We're going to be honest with you, like, hey, you don't need the BMW of stuff right now. Just get the. I know I'm going to be bashing on stuff. I'm just going to pick the car I drive. Drive the Honda Accord, get you to A to B. That's what you need right now. So if that
Nothing
means
wrong
that
with
you're going
that.
to scale down first, start from scratch, the bottom first, and then work your way up, then great. Because a lot of times people will, and that's the other thing in business. And if I can give one suggestion as business owner,
Go ahead.
you don't need the Rolls Royce of every single service vendor product out there right off the bat. Sometimes the simple stuff works perfectly fine. I find a lot of people making that mistake. Right?
And that
If I can
doesn't
give
guarantee a
anyone-
win.
Right, it does exactly. It does
Sometimes
not
that's-
guarantee you win.
And
I can
sometimes
buy
that's
the-
one of those things where people sometimes do things just to keep up with the Joneses. It's like, oh, I know somebody,
Yeah,
someone else with a business does this, and it's like that may not work for you.
That doesn't exactly.
It might
gotta
put you in a
figure it
hole.
out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can't do that. It's like, even if I buy the best baseball bat that's on the market, I'm not going to be hitting home runs like Aaron Judge, right? That's not how it works.
No.
So like,
It's
you
true.
it just doesn't work.
But
that way.
it's funny you say that. I don't want to like sidetrack, but that's the whole thing behind marketing. That's what gets a lot of us buying all this stuff that we don't need, because we're saying, well, so and so has that, so it might make me as great, but it doesn't work out that way.
For
Doesn't
what?
work out that way.
It's like fashion to me. Wear what's comfortable and what you like. You don't need to wear something with all these huge logos and everything like that to show it off. Dude, just wear what's comfortable because it makes sense for you. I think people go way too much, and I think it's that immediate gratification culture that we have right now with the trying to show off a little bit at the same time, or trying to show your worth. Man, your worth is in your character. It's not by what you possess. It's in the worth is in your character, and you're gonna if your character is great, you're gonna be successful in most things. So I don't think that those are the type of things I always tell everyone to stay away from. So I try to tell my kids every single day. It's not about what you have. It's about how you carry yourself. So a little bit
And
piece
that-
of advice there.
And that's why you're a guest on Honorable Men. Just by what you said right there. I hope everyone rewinds that back and just hear that one more time.
Yeah,
But-
I'm telling you, man, it's about your character. Don't forget that. All right, it's always about your character. You know what your worth is, and that's where it's at. Okay, and there's so many sayings. And I give this. I love training my people. Like I said before, I always give them like a saying here too. There's other stuff for people that I think are kind of on the anxious level. And one thing I think it was from like I don't know if it was a Chinese proverb or a Chinese saying or whatever it was, but the root of anxiety is wanting to do too many things and want to immediately see the results. I will never forget that. Meaning, if you want to be at the very top from the beginning, you're gonna be you're not gonna make it because you are trying to skip all the steps to get there, right? I need to get all this all at once. Why can't you just crawl before before you walk before you run? Why do we have to go straight to sprinting? So, that goes back into the whole take baby steps if you need to, but try. Know your worth, make an attempt. You're gonna fail. There's no better teacher than failure. Successes only happen for people that fail. Those are the type of things that everyone should always say. Right? You're better prepared if you failed before. And look at me, man. My previous business, it failed. Unfortunately, not from my own doing, but it failed. But I learned something from it, right? I learned what not to do. I learned, okay, great. This is how I can do things a little bit better. So, I mean, I can preach as much as I want. I know people are still going to make that same mistake here or there. And I think that's a rite of passage for some people. But if I could just hit one person that's listening right now to not make those same mistakes I did when it comes to the premium stuff, because I fell into that trap a few times, you're going to be much better off for it. So.
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
As we start to wrap, having your experience with your business, and you mentioned the fires in California,
mm-hmm.
Are you more likely not to have a physical building for a business? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because, again, I'm an outsider when it comes to business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not claiming to be an expert in business. This is why I have you here, and I'll have you here as many times as you'd like. I look at Amazon, right? Yeah, they have a physical warehouse where they have some workers in the warehouse. But mainly what Amazon has been doing is been putting the physical stores out of business, right? So are we heading in the direction? I think I already know this answer, but I would rather someone who's from that space answer it. Are we heading in a direction where physical stores are going to become obsolete?
So that is a loaded question for multiple reasons. Now, for ease, and let's just talk about being able to get your product quickly. I can say yes, because it's easier for people to shop online. Social interaction isn't what it used to be anymore. There's so many like psychology things that are attached to it. Being able to just browse multiple stores and compare very quickly at
try on clothes.
Yeah, that's why
it's
right.
Yeah,
it's never going to be able to replace the fact of human connection, right? That's the only thing, right? So the jobs that really I know are going to always be there is the stuff that's always has a human connection. So funny enough, restaurants will always be there. You always got to feed someone, but that gives an innate sense of human connection. I don't care when my family has said this for like, if I feed you, your family, right? So that's kind of how it works, right? So that's like those type of businesses will always stick around. But there's many businesses that are in danger of really just completely getting rid of their brick and mortar and going into that remote style and that virtual office style. And like I said, it's layered with so many things: economy, the way, how expensive it is to be at where you're at,
the location,
just the space, location. And everyone tells you location, right? Sometimes the location is going to cost you, my buddy who owns a bakery in Midtown, he basically costs him 50 grand, I think, is his rent a month.
Oh my goodness. Those numbers sound so astronomical. I'm like,
it's crazy. I mean, he makes it. He's very successful himself.
Okay,
I'm just saying, man, like, when those are the type of numbers you're dealing with, though, it's like it just takes one bad week for you to like really be in the red. Because I think most restaurant owners will tell you, I have one bad snow day or two bad snow days of the year. It screws up my entire year, right? So can you really do that? And I think a lot of people are going that route. And you're going to see, and you see this a lot with a lot of companies. They're moving into different states, right? People have moved their headquarters into southern states that are not income tax states, right? So you're going to see like the Toyotas moving over to Texas. There's people that are moving their operations overseas because it's cheaper overseas, right? So yes, I do think that the way things are going right now with how expensive real estate is, how economy is working right now, what is needed to really just put food on the table every single night is just going up, and you're really just getting hit. People are going to try to downsize. So funny enough, this is like Sicily is one of those options of
Right.
downsizing, being
Right.
able to help you out there. But I really, I mean, I'd hate to see it really go over all that to that end. But the way things are going, I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. That's why people are really hoping that there can be a surplus of something. But man, I can't imagine the amount of stores that are closing. Even my own area, like I see people like going out of business. It's just they can't afford it anymore. And maybe maybe that's a sign of things to come. I don't know.
Unfortunately, I feel like even though there's value in social interaction, we're gonna see less and less of that because
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you've seen it in movies, in real life, when it comes to business meetings. Oh, let's meet at this restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
right? But how many meetings at a restaurant will keep the restaurant afloat? Because
Right.
what's going on now with Uber Eats and stuff like that, some people might say, "Oh, just come over the house," or
Mm-hmm.
if there's an office space with a conference room, we'll just have the
Mm-hmm.
food delivered to the office space, and
Right.
in turn, if you have enough of that going on, like you said, the brick and mortar are gonna be in trouble, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
and everything is at your fingertips on the
Mm-hmm.
phone. So social interaction, I don't even think is as valued as it used to be when I was growing up. Social
I agree.
interaction. There's less and
I
less
agree.
social interaction. Even when we're in these spaces that we try to value, like a brick and mortar restaurant,
Mm.
people are staring at their phones. So the
Mm.
atmosphere is not being appreciated. No one's
Right.
taking time to look at. Oh, look, I like the plants. I like the paint. I like the chandeliers. The lighting is nice. You know, people are appreciate. I feel like they're appreciating life in general less. And I
Mhm.
don't want to take this off of business, but
No, I
it's
agree with
it's
you.
something
People
to
are
think
also.
about if you're
Yeah.
considering getting a restaurant.
Mhm.
And this is not to I don't want to
Like discourage or anything like
that's the,
that.
I don't want to discourage anyone from not going after their dreams. By all means, go after your dreams, but it's something to consider because let me just say this also when we talk about location. Sometimes you find a good location price wise that suits your pockets, but then you have to consider what other businesses are around there. What's the
Yeah.
neighborhood like around there? All these things matter because I see it on the news all the time. I see, you know, people celebrate having a business as they should because they took a chance and they start a business, but then the neighborhood they're in, they find out later on maybe the neighborhood doesn't like them or doesn't like their
Hmm.
business, and then you got to deal with vandalism and your
Right.
business. There's so many layers again with the brick. There's so many layers, and I want to say cons to a degree with the brick and
Mm.
mortar that is
Mm.
something to consider.
Oh yeah, one
You
hundred
know,
percent. I think it's something you should always consider when you're doing things, right? Take into account everything that you're going to invest into it. How much am I going to cost you over the course of a year or 2 years or 5 years, whatever. Just go ahead and extrapolate that, right? And the brick and mortar might not be in your favor, or the size of what you're trying to. Maybe you want to scale it down a little bit smaller. Start smaller first and build up, right? Um, there's so many factors that play into it. Where you live, the state that you're in. Some places are very expensive. Like I said, Manhattan, Midtown,
forget about it.
50 grand, like I said, is mind-boggling to me too, right? But you got to make being in there, maybe you're going to make over twice that amount in sales in a month. God bless, right? It's a scary number to deal with right off the bat. So it's just like the premium stuff that I talked about earlier. You don't If you're going to do the brick and mortar, do the brick and mortar. That's fine. Don't go away from your dreams. Just know that there is something in the back there that may affect it, right?
Hmm.
There might be that switchover that we're afraid of that going fully virtual. But there's also ways to counter it, right? That's why people are always having like better socials, having people get really excited about the restaurant, hyping it up a little bit more, getting people coming in there because of who's been there or what you want to try, right? And I, for one, will visit some restaurants myself, just, scrolling through socials and be like, that was really cool. They made a funny video. You know what? The atmosphere already, I like this. Maybe just go ahead and just try it out. You got to do something different. You got to also go with the times. So I think the people that really are opening up right now also have to be cognizant of the times and what you're in and be able to make decisions when you feel it's necessary. Hey, this isn't looking good. Let's shut down, cut our losses now. Let's downscale. Or, hey, this is looking great. Let's do what we keep doing. Let's do that as well. And a minor thing about you were talking about appreciating the areas. Some people, when they go to a restaurant, not only do they not appreciate their surroundings, they don't appreciate the company that they're with. I've seen that way too many times. I mean, I wanted to say that earlier. People will look at their phones way too much when it's someone across the table that you should just, enjoy their company. There's a lot of, if I could, Asian culture is a very funny thing. You could do the whole thing where you put your phone in the middle and the first person that touches it pays for the bill. That works sometimes.
Really?
That's an Asian culture thing.
That's Asian culture?
It's very funny. That's a very, I know South Koreans do that a lot. I can't remember what it's called. My friend group have employed that as well.
Okay, I would win. I don't have to touch my phone. I really don't have to touch my phone.
And then at the end, no one touches it. Great. You spent time with your friends. You did everything that you guys wanted to do. You guys split the bill as normal and move on, right? Save for taking a picture here or there. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about literally living in your phone. As if you do that, then you're paying for the bill, right? Because we come out to see each other. Then find fun ways. I think that's the other thing. Find fun ways to change that, right? Break that mold, change that atmosphere. Yeah, I get it. That's what people are a little bit less sociable, but there's various ways to get people a little bit more sociable than you like, right? Just approach it, ask them a question, do something. But, I still, like, in the back of my head, I will still just have share that same fear that you have of things just starting to just close down just because of what it is, the vandalism thing. And, it's just, that's something that you have to consider and think about. But hey, again, take the step though. You still got to take the step. Like, I don't, the people that already failed before they even try, that type of thing, where it's just like, you didn't even try, you already failed, try first. And if it failed, make another adjustment, right? I don't know. It's just, man, make an attempt.
Listen, I believe it. I live in it. I live it, especially with this channel. I procrastinated. I should have had this channel started during COVID, but my schedule was different. I was working at a different place. My hours were horrible, but I'm here now, and
you started.
I started. So
that's right.
That's a win in itself. I know some people will look at the numbers. Oh, you only have this many subscribers. I'm not worried about that because I do this for the love. Interviewing honorable men like DJ is a pleasure. Listen,
thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for taking the time out to share this information for the viewers. Listen, just go for it, people. Go for it. This is just one life. And one takeaway I want you to have from this episode, aside from all the great information DJ shared with you, is he's genuine. All right? If you haven't realized that through this episode, watch it from the top again. This is a genuine man who's here to help. He's here to also provide for his family and make a living, but he's a genuine person. Like he mentioned not too long ago, he's not here to just, if you have any questions, he's not here just to, charge you for his information right off the back. That's not what he's here to do. He's genuinely here to help you. He has great staff behind me. You see all the women. Let me move to the side again. Great staff. Knowledgeable staff, intelligent staff, and this is only a few of them. He sent me other photos with more staff members, and any questions you have, again, I'll have him give you his information. If you have questions that you put in the comment section, I'll let him know the questions, and he could actually jump in the comment section anyway and respond to your questions if you have any questions. But again, DJ, to wrap, if you want to just share how they could reach you in Assistly Pro.
Sure. Again, socials, get Assistly or Assistly Pro on any one of our socials, plus info@assistlypro.com. And I'm going to leave you with one thing. It's funny, because I learned this from the West Coast. A lot of my friends, when I eat, we all eat. That's basically what I'm going to leave you. I'm here, again, genuinely, because I want to see people advance. I'm not here to put anyone down. I'm here to help. So if I see you becoming successful and I did something to help that out, that's a win for me. It doesn't matter whether or not it is a monetary value or not. All right, so that's it.
There you have it, an honorable man. DJ, thank you.
You're welcome. And thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Hopefully
and as
we can
always,
do this again sometime.
All right, for sure. And for the viewers, if you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next episode. Stay honorable.